Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Maizatul Akma binti Muhammad Rusdi. Today, I want to present Chapter 18, that is the abstracting process. Introduction of abstracting process. The abstracting process should be understood that the process is not rigid, rule-following activity, although there are standard guidelines and practical common sense procedures that are very useful. Referring to Andres Niemeyer, 1990, a few listed of the most common rules and guidelines that we usually see is include the result, leave out how they were obtained, leave out example, definition, and explanation, don't include graph or tables, omit what the author charges less important, leave out the obvious, and also leave out arguments that are marginal. Step in abstracting. Step 1 is to accurately and fully record the bibliographic information of the document. Incorrect reference entry is unpardonable sin because the purpose of entry is to give exact storage to the original documents from the abstract. Completeness and accuracy are essential. The types of abstract, that is indicative, informative, and critical, does not affect the need for full bibliographic entry because it is assumed that in most cases the abstract is only a surrogate leaving the user with the decision of whether or not to read the full document. The elements to be included are fairly well standardized, but the order of presentation can run the gamut and is usually an individual choice of the abstracting agency. In writing the reference entry, it is not unusual to abbreviate to save space, but abbreviation should be consistent and follow established rules. The title. A good title can be a key device in identifying the information for retrieval, and users have learned this. Handling the title is more than simply copying it correctly from the document to the worksheet. First, if the abstract is vague or misleading, the abstractors should take corrective action by adding modifying words in bracket. For example, the author's title might be controlling eating, but the abstractor's title reads the use of hypnosis in the control of compulsive eating. The authors. Some abstractors believe that the authors should be first element in the bibliographic reference, their reason often being one of three. First, the author's name is usually placed first. Second, users often base their searches on authors who are leaders in a field. And lastly, if the users enter the file of abstract with a citation in hand, the citation is easier to locate by the author. Foreign language. Following the sources, information should be given about foreign language documents. The original language could be transmitted if it has been translated. The translation sources information should be supplied. Step 2 is the content analysis of document. For abstracting purpose is similar to the analysis done for indexing. However, the final purpose is different. Therefore, there are some differences in the analysis procedure. When indexing, the objective is to identify key concepts with the goal of creating a word list, a column of control descriptors that will point to a document's content. The abstractors look at 5 overall indicators first in performing the content analysis. That is, firstly is objective and scope, why was the document written, what purpose the author have in mind, and others. Secondly is methodology. For document reporting experimental work, some of the technique and methods used should be described, but not all. Enough should be given to allow the reader to understand how the work was carried out. Thirdly is result. What were the outcomes, what relationship and correlation, were the data raw or were they adjusted, and others. Fourthly is conclusion. What hypotheses were accepted or rejected? What evaluation, what application or suggestion, and others. Lastly is other information. Supportive information should be noted, such as results that are not directly related to the main topic, but it might be important in other areas. Step 3 is to write the annotation. At this point, the abstractor has notes on the highlight of the document and has a mental picture of the content and concept of the documents. For most people, an outline is useful device when writing anything, no matter what the length. A simple model for an outline can see in this slide. The first sentences of abstract is critical, should be a topical sentences that tells what the document is all about. It is concise, informative thesis statement and resemble the lead sentence in a news story, and also should convey the type of information that allows reader to decide if they want to continue reading the abstract or not. The abstract should be one paragraph only, except in the case of extraordinary long document. For example, redundant phrases should be minimized. Do not say the result of the study lead one to the conclusion that. Instead say the conclusion is. Do not say after the was completed the following data were compiled. Instead say resulting data were. Step 4 is the abstractor's name. Give credit and responsibility for the abstract. Often, only initials are given, with the full name appearing as well in the abstract publication, but full names are also used frequently. Step 5 is editing the abstract. Editing absolutely essential because abstracts are short literary pieces. They must be edited carefully, the same way any process is edited before it is published. The first editing task is to check the reference section against the original documents. Author's name, title, journal name, sources, and volume and issue numbers are often incorrect. The abstract editor's primary concern, like the editors of an index, is the error of omission. This is invisible error that is difficult to detect. Editors are bridges between the abstract writer and the production editor. On the one hand, they fuss with the content and intellectual quality of abstract. On the other hand, they prepare copy that conforms to the constraint of the publishing. Step 6 is the arrangement of abstract. A common format is alphabetical by title, but some alternatives are alphabetical by authors, alphabetical by subject, descriptors, classified, and dictionary style. In all cases, the abstract will be require an index to support the basic file, and this is especially true in classified abstract. The writing process. Although there is no best way to write abstract, some basis empirically based concepts have evolve over time that can serve as general pointers. It has been noted that, as you can see in this slide, the writing itself should enhance this core, not distract from it. Authors as abstractors. The authors know best what the document is about and knows the audience being targeted. The authors may make the wrong assumption and may not recognize that material deemed secondary in the document be of primary concern to a user searching for information. The readers may read the document for a different reason than the one the authors wrote it. The reader is interested about new research methodologies. The authors might abstract the document with a focus on the methodology, but the users want to see primarily the result. The most positive aspect to an author-constructed abstract is that the author is familiar with the document and the subject field it is concerned with. On the negative side, the author generally is not versed in professional skills of analysis and representation of information and may not know the principle abstracting. Abstract writing is creative writing. A potential abstract is writer should read and critic publish abstract looking for what is good or bad in the abstract. Good writers good writers of anything are avid readers. A certain amount of background research may be appropriate. Standards and guidelines. The best known guidelines for abstracting are from the American National Standard Institute. These guidelines are aimed at providing aid to authors and editors who prepare abstract in experimental work or descriptive or discursive studies. They also describe the type of abstract stylization. Examples are given in Appendix American National Standard Institute 1997. Abstracting example 1. Writing the abstract. The general topic is information, of course, but it's a very broad term. The title is a clue, matter, energy and information, two building block and mortar. This chapter focuses on basic topic for physical characteristic of relationship of matter, energy and information. The first sentences of chapter lays this out and might use the sentences, the basic of the opening, the abstract. You can see the sentences in this slide as I have wrote as I have write. Now we analyze the topic for the abstract idea and we can summarize this as follows. The basic nature of matter and energy are presented with description of how they evolved of the Big Bang 13.7 billion years ago. The concept of a relation of thermodynamics and entropy are discussed. Then, the relationship of information to these two fundamental ideas is chapter of the book being indexed as an information hero. The hero for this chapter is James Clerk Maxwell, which is the demon example of second law of thermodynamics. Then, if we put in abstract, like I have right in this slide. The ending out abstract is brief summary of the majority point of the chapter. The final step, put the part of the abstract together, review its logical structure or composition and prepare it for submission. Abstracting example 2, the published abstract. The second example, the published abstract, accompanies the research paper that was indexed in chapter 12. This is an example structures abstract. Writing a structured abstract is not easy way. It requires the same intellectual effort and skill as writing any type of abstract. But in the case of structured abstract, there are some set formal elements that must be addressed in a fixed order. 6 categories of abstract in structure. Firstly is objective. The analysis process is the same one to write the descriptive abstract in example, except that this time you need to know specifically what is expected. Secondly is method. A description of the research method and the procedure of the study comes next. Thirdly is result. State the result as the authors presented them without offering your own comment. Fourthly is conclusion. As the result section, state the authors without additional comments. Fifthly is highlights. In this section, you might make personal comments on what is the most important in the paper. And lastly is implication. A collection of abstracts are useful only if a good index leads to the needed abstract. I think that's all from me. Thank you.